in trying to find acceptance, a lot of times I became a yes person because I did not want to be I didn't want to be seen as big and threatening. I did not want to be seen as somebody who didn't do a good job. So those were the types of things that I did in order to be accepted. So I had to come to terms with all of those things in order for me to realize that comparison was normal. And there's nothing wrong with comparing, but what are you going to do with the information? Now what?
Yes. Have you had moments where you felt like this journey was a struggle for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that, looking at the range of where you are on a journey or on a lifestyle modification since last year, there's been some times that it's been tougher than others. There have been some moments where it seems impossible. There are times when you are frustrated with where you are and you want more. And yes, I went through and I thought that my journey was going to be this, and I was going to be able to lose 100 pounds in 15 minutes. I thought that I was going to be able to have a normalized A1C. I just thought, I'm just taking this and this is the magic shot. This is the magic bullet. I ain't gonna have to do nothing else. And I take this, and my body was on it. My body chose.
Hello, and welcome. Today, look who I have with me. It's Dariam. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on. I'm so excited to chat with you. We've been chatting it up before we started pressing record. We should have recorded that, right? We had a great conversation. So I'm excited to actually talk about this, all things related to GLP-1. So, Dariam has a story to tell. He has been using the GLP-1, and it has not only changed his body, it's actually changed his entire life. And I think his perspective on things, which is, it's just great, which is what we really want to hear about. So Dariam, tell us, how are you doing today? And give us a little bit of background about It's Dariam.
All right, no problem. So it's Dariam. I'm somebody who believes deeply in supporting people on the messy middle of their journey, because going through this life, I'll back up just a little bit. So in October of 2023, I met with my doctor. Long story short, I was diagnosed with the disease of diabetes, and it rocked my world. I was, went through a particular spiral. And then the thing that helped me was earlier the next year, March of 2024 is when I was prescribed Mounjaro. I had no idea what it was or anything about it. I went to social media and I was in a live on TikTok, and one of the creators at the time was doing some 101 and doing some basics. And in that, I've realized that community is going to be the only way that I'm going to be able to get through this. So fast forward till now, having spent a lot of time in different channels, talking with different creators and looking at the different audiences, I realized that my niche is always going to be on the support and making the people feel seen and heard.
Okay, very good, very good. So tell us about the day you found out you were a type 2 diabetic. Tell us a little bit more about that. Did you know anything about diabetes? Did you know anyone who had type 2 diabetes before you? And just how did that all go down?
Okay. So for me, I'm 6'2", and I've always lived in a larger body. So living in a larger body and taking the space, that wasn't anything new to me. Having had my labs done over the years, I was a healthy person in a larger size. I would have notes in there that was talking about my size, but no doctor had a conversation. So in 2023, when I had my annual physical, I had my labs done beforehand, and my doctor came in with a look of concern and told me that my hemoglobin A1C was 10.8. I didn't know anything about hemoglobin A1C and what are the things. So I thought, oh, okay, well, that's good, right? And she looked at me and she was like, no. And she said, for the audience members who don't live with type 2 diabetes or live with type 2 diabetes, they said the hemoglobin A1C range of 5.6 and below is considered to be in the normal range. Well, I was almost double that and had no clue.
Wow.
Now, growing up in the community that I did, in the Black community, diabetes was not something that was foreign, but it was something that you often heard that was touted as almost like a death sentence. Don't eat that because you're going to get diabetes. If you drink this tea, you're going to get diabetes. If you do this, you're going to have diabetes. And then you're going to go blind and you're going to lose limbs. And when she told me that, I thought that was going to be my fate as well.
Oh, wow.
So, from October of 23 until March of 24, I had the world's longest pity party. I felt so sorry for myself and all of that. And then my doctor was like, okay, so what are we doing? So we sat down, we came up with a plan of using GLP-1s, metformin, other medications, because she wanted to make sure that I was protecting my kidneys, making sure that I was my cholesterol numbers were going to stay in control because of because of the connection between diabetes and heart disease. So we went on an aggressive plan. So I realized that I spent my entire life taking care of other people and very little time taking care of me. And this diagnosis and trying to put that at the forefront of my mind made me realize that if I don't take care of me, nobody else will. So I had to make that a priority.
All right, very good. So you started the medication and you said in March of 2024?
Yes.
So let me ask you, because you said you have been a bigger gentleman for a lot of your life. And so, as a kid, were you teased about your size? Because I think sometimes it's different from little boys and little girls. Like, I think being a bigger guy, I feel like, and you can speak for yourself because but I've been told that being a bigger guy, you feel like a protector type. So it's not like as frowned upon, but being a girl that's bigger, it's like you're seen as like you and eating too much, and you need to pull back. And sometimes families even interact different with the boys that are overweight than girls. So what was your experience being overweight and being a bigger, because you're 6'3", 6'2", like being
Yeah.
taller?
So, in growing up, when I was growing up chubby and things like that, it was lots of derogatory terms that were used for those little boys who were wearing the huskies and things like that. Then you have the growth spurts in your adolescence where you still are larger, but you're taller. So then you may have this idea that you may be more of a protector, but more of in trying to find acceptance. A lot of times I became a yes person because I did not want to I didn't want to be seen as big and threatening. I did not want to be seen as somebody who didn't do a good job. So those were the types of things that I did in order to be accepted.
Yes.
So, as a child, that was different, but growing up as a teen, living in a larger body, you still have those stigmas and you have those things, and you have people who have the slick comments, but you also have the other side of people who were using you as the shield and the one who was always going to be the beast of burden, the one who could always lift things up or do different things because of the larger stature.
Yeah, so it's kind of like can be a double-edged sword. The name calling though is never a good thing. What do you feel about the use of the word big bags? Like that's a thing now. It's even a TV show, and they have young kids on the TV show, um, talking about a big bag moved into our town and all of that. And being an educator, I don't like the names, but I just wonder what you feel about that.
Well, in growing up in community, one of the things that I've had to learn, or what I chose to learn, was to have a tougher skin. Now, I'm an advocate for people being seen. I'm an advocate for people having their identity, and somebody besmirching somebody's identity and calling them names like Big Back, not out of a term of endearment, but in a way of trying to make that person feel less than. There's a difference between if we're friends and you and I are having a conversation and joking, and we're about to have dinner. I said something, and I'm calling myself a big back in the terms of that, then we're doing it in jest. But if we're using it as a way to demoralize or put somebody down or call them some name, then I don't agree with that at all. So I
Okay.
understand that there are ways that people, take back their power. However, if your motive is to try to bring somebody down, I'm not about that.
Yeah, I think that's what people are trying to do with that when they say, "I need to unbig my back," is they're trying to take away their power, and my thought about that is it's still you're still saying the word and putting it out there. Because I think we have to be aware of what little kids they're always watching, and that's the thing that kids are saying on the playgrounds now, like, they're calling the person a big bag. So when you're saying, "I'm unbigging my bag," I get it, but it's also still keeping that negativity out there, and that's just
Mhm.
like I said, my opinion from somebody who is working with kids and on the trenches and seeing these things go down on the playgrounds as we speak. So, okay, well, all right, let's get into some more. I just kind of want to know, how you're feeling about, all these things, because I really think that what you experienced as a child definitely plays into your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs as you grow up, right? So I think that's kind of
Absolutely.
important to establish that. But so now your doctor, it's March. Let's take you back to March 2024. Your doctor, gives you this Mounjaro. And how did your first injection go? What did you do or say? What were you thinking? Take us back to that.
So I picked up my prescription like on March 1st, and it was March 9th that I decided that I was going to take my first injection.
8
Now,
days?
8 days. It sat in the refrigerator because the debilitating idea that I was going to jab myself with a needle, I could not wrap my head around. I am really afraid of needles. And, I'm thinking I will make giving yourself a needle akin to stabbing yourself. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So that day, it took me about 45 minutes to press the button the first time. I'm in
Wow.
there. I'm fresh out the shower. I probably took a bath in alcohol because I wanted to make sure I was sterile. And I did all of the wiping down and making sure that things were clean. And my hands were shaking as I was taking the cap off. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna break the needle. All of the things that you're doing. And then you put the pen against your stomach. I took my first in the stomach. And I'm over there and my fingers would not press the button. I mean, I'm sweating. My back is sweating. My legs are sweating. I'm shaking. I've been standing so long that my feet were numb. I was like, oh, goodness, what is happening? I'm having a panic attack, and I didn't know it was a panic attack. And then, I went and did all of that. 45 minutes in, and I'm, like, okay, what are we doing? I just took an inhale and I pressed the button, freaking myself out, but I didn't feel it. I looked down and I was like, oh my goodness, I messed this up. I got one with no needle inside. Oh my goodness, what is happening? Then I looked down and saw like the spot where, on the skin there was like a little bit of blood. So it showed that it did inject. So in doing that, I was like, okay, well, if I'm being honest, I still have a fear of doing the injection. Just doesn't take me 45 minutes to press the button. It may take me 5 minutes now to press the button. And I'm, 94 shots in. It doesn't
Oh, wow.
necessarily get easy. It doesn't necessarily get easier, but I realize the benefits outweigh the moment of discomfort.
Now, would you consider taking a pill because of your fear of the injection?
Well, I barely remember to take my multivitamin daily. So the idea that I'm going to take a pill daily, it's not going to work well for me. So
Now, what if the
yeah.
pill became, and it's not that I know of it or anything yet, but what if it was like, and I've heard talk of it, if it was a monthly pill or if it was like a pill you would take like once a year, would you consider that?
Yeah, I'll be open to the different sciences that are coming up and seeing what is going to be available. And
Okay.
see what the science says, because am I going to take this once a year pill and be sick for 365 days,
Yeah,
or
that
or what? So
well, that led me right into my next question, which is about any side effects that you've experienced.
with side effects, my main side effects have been constipation, But it's constipation from eating enough food. I know sometimes people say, "Oh, I have constipation," but they're not eating any food. And I say you can't go if you don't fuel.
Yeah.
The second one has been insomnia. I have spent, sometime I'll take the medication and I'm sleeping fine. Others, I'll lay down and I'll be in bed, sleep for 2 hours and up for the rest.
Oh, wow. Wow. Now, have you talked to your doctor about any of these? Like the constipation, are you taking anything for that? What works for you with the constipation?
So with the constipation, the thing that works for me best is the milk of magnesia or the citrate magnesia.
Okay.
Mago 7, though people love it, does nothing for me.
Okay.
Um, you have the different fiber gummies and things like that. No. I mean, I take some Garden of Life fiber and it helps, with that. Psyllium husk helps with the, bulking
Yes.
up and things like that. But a lot of the over counter things is like, okay, just stick to what works. And in my refrigerator, even growing up, we had a bottle of that citric magnesium in the refrigerator,
Oh, really?
that little clear bottle
Yeah.
that's fizzy and like a lemon flavor. Maybe we kept that in the refrigerator growing up. So I was like, maybe we dealt with constipation for years and just, it was,
Just
or,
yeah.
it was just never a thing. But those are the remedies that work for me. And the last um side effect that's, a little bit strange is I have like these phantom smells where
Hmm.
I will smell cigarette smoke and nobody around me smokes cigarettes. Or sometimes I'll smell garbage and there's no garbage that's around. But I realize that that's a side effect, but some people talk about having. So those are the side effects that I typically have.
Now, do you have those the smells like soon after you take the injection, or is it days later?
It's random. It's random. It's
Oh,
not every week, and it's very random. I can be at work and I'm doing something, and all of a sudden I start smelling cigarette smoke. Not like the house is burning smoke, but just cigarette smoke.
wow, wow.
And I'm like, who's smoking? Nobody.
Wow. Have you talked to your doctor about that? Is
Yes.
that a thing with some
It
people? Huh.
is. And it's one of the things that said this with some people, but it's not something that calls for having some type of treatment.
Okay.
Quick story, they said that you have some GLP-1 receptors in your olfactory nerve in your nose area. And so
Mhm.
some of those could be activated when taking the
Okay.
GLP-1.
Oh, okay, that makes sense, that makes sense. Now what about the sleep? Have you talked to the doctor about the sleeping?
Yes. So, and
It
I
what
mean, I have medication that helps with the sleeping as
Oh,
well.
go. Okay, good. Has it worked? Have you noticed
Mhm.
a difference? Okay.
Yeah.
If you're not getting that sleep in, all the other things are just gonna tumble down over time, and it's just not going to work out so hot. So, if you can get that sleep under control, I think that's a great start. The other things are kinda manageable, but that sleep is kind of almost like the umbrella of it all, right?
Yeah. And I
So
and I live with sleep apnea, so I'm using my CPAP machine as well. So in using the CPAP machine, it records all of your sleep and the quality of sleep and things like that as well. And sometimes you get those low scores because you slept for 2 hours. But in others with the medication, it helps with, but because I have the sleep apnea, I have to make sure that's on because I don't want to fall deep asleep and then I have some type of episode.
so you have lost 31 pounds, which is excellent. And
Hmm.
so have you noticed a change since you started with the your sleep apnea and where
Hmm.
you are now? Because I'm trying to get my dad
Yeah.
approved for the medication with his sleep apnea. So I just wondered, you notice a difference?
Oh, definitely. So with the
Okay.
sleep apnea, the side effect of having less constriction in my neck and things like that has helped with that. I noticed that my pressure had to be lowered because I was on a higher pressure before, and now the pressure is lowered. So that helps a lot. Um, and I wake up and I'm not having as much daytime sleepiness. And
Okay.
if you are constantly waking up or you're constantly catching your breath, it's very exhausting. So you wake
Oh,
up
I
the
can
next day
imagine.
exhausted.
Yes.
So
Oh gosh.
so it
Well,
helps a lot. So yeah, prayers for your dad that he can get it covered, and that he will find treatment that's going to help him improve and live a better life.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, very good. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Well, that just leads us into, and you kind of talked a little bit about this with the whole constipation. You said you are eating. One of the
Mhm.
things you hear a lot on this GLP-1 journey is people struggle to eat. Have you ever had the struggle to eat? And what are you actually eating? Are you counting calories? What are you doing?
Yeah. So for me, I've never had the struggle to eat. So some people say that people who take a GLP-1 have this something called suppression. Well, suppression don't I mean, I don't know what that is. They haven't found my house yet. I'm looking for suppression, and suppression hasn't come here. But I do get
Even
a
on
lot. I do get
12.5, so you're on
I'm on
12.5
15.
milligrams. You're on
I'm on
15
15.
now.
I've
What?
been on
And you,
15 since June, and I have
how come I didn't
and
know that?
well,
Why would I think you were on 12.5? I thought we were 20 for so long.
no,
Okay, so you are
nope.
on 15.
I'm
So
on
you
15.
haven't had experienced the suppression even on 15. Okay,
Not
all
one
right.
day.
And
So
I
I don't
think
get
so many
suppression.
people are going to be able to relate to that because, yeah, that's a
Yeah, so
thing.
no, I don't get that. But I do get great satiety. So I can eat I'm hungry at meal times, and when I'm eating, it's eating in a calorie deficit. I'm always trying to put protein forward, but I so my mind will say, okay, you've had enough. So we can stop that. But if I'm having a day where I could be like, ooh, you can out eat the medication for sure. Those days are rare because a lot of times you don't want to have that feeling afterward. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, lots of protein, and I like a lot of animal proteins where I have chicken and turkey. I do a lot of ground chicken. I do a lot of ground turkey. I like beef and steak and things like that. I like different kinds of veg, so broccoli, Brussels sprouts, those kind of things as well. And and cauliflower rice is pretty good as well once you flavor it, because if
I
not,
was
it
going to
tastes
say,
like
do you flavor it
you
with
got to flavor
something?
it. Oh, definitely, because it tastes like steam air. So you have to put some I have to put some seasoning in it. So hydrate, everybody. Take a moment to hydrate.
Well, this is another tip. You may already do this, but I boil mine in half water, chicken broth, or sometimes vegetable broth, sometimes a bone broth to it to give it the flavor too. So that's a tip. And you can do the whole thing, but it's depend on the brand you get. It could have a lot of sodium. So
No, I
I
do
try
the
not to use
steam.
all
I
of
do
it.
the
Okay, so
I
you
use a
steam it.
bag with the steam, and when I steam, I'll take it out and put it in a bowl. I'll put a pat of butter, salt, pepper, garlic powder. Tabitha Brown has some really good seasoning as well, so you'll put some of those in, some of that in there, and I'll shake it up,
Yeah,
and
see,
it
I still
has
need that
different
extra
flavor.
little that extra
Oh
little
yeah,
kick. But they make some good varieties too now at
yeah.
Whole Foods where you can get like the Spanish kind. They have different kinds, so it gives a little
Oh
bit
no.
more
Well,
flavor.
Whole Foods is a place. I'll leave you and the Whole Food squad to be able to enjoy your Whole Foods.
What do you have against Whole
I
Foods?
have nothing against Whole Foods. I think Whole Foods is amazing. It's a great store. It's when you go in there, you are definitely going to shop. There's not a whole
Yeah,
lot of mingling going on at
yeah.
Whole Foods. Everybody is very stoic. Everybody is making sure that you have the best fruit and veg. They make sure that your meat cuts are great. Do you have those wonderfully presented pre-made meals that look like pictures? It's very,
Uh,
very utilitarian. Not my vibe at all. So, but yes, you can go in there and enjoy your whole food life.
I love it. That is so funny. Okay, okay. Well, duly noted. So, do you meal prep, Dariam? Are you making
Yes.
meals ahead of time? Okay, so you meal prep. All right, very good. So, what
Yeah.
is the day in the life of Dariam looks like? And how? Let me ask first. What is your protein looking like? Do you have a range? Do you have a
Mhm.
target? What's your
So I'm
protein
getting
target?
my protein target is between 180 and 200 grams of protein. And before people clutch their pearls, I'm a big guy. So, I'm not 5'4.5". I'm 6'2", and I have a large body to fuel. So in doing that, that's why I do a lot of stacking of protein. So if I'm going to have the ground chicken, I'm going to make sure that I have the ground chicken, but I'm also going to have some cottage cheese or some eggs or something like that where I'm doing that. Or if I'm going
Okay.
to have a protein shake to go with the coffee, I'm going to have a protein shake. But then not only that, I'm going to put a scoop of protein powder in the protein shake and protein coffee so that you're doubling those things. So
Hmm.
I'm making sure that I'm getting those, you know, different ways to different cheats. And with my snacks, I'm using Greek yogurts and, you know, with the fruit, and I'll sprinkle some chia seeds and things like that on there. So different hacks for you to be able to get those things in.
Oh, okay, good. Those are some good tips. Yeah, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, if you can get that in there too, for a little fiber, that's good too. Okay, so I was asking you, but what before about, are you keeping track of calories,
Oh,
or do you
definitely.
just? Okay, do you have a
No,
range you could tell us
what do you mean
for
for
your
the calorie
calories?
intake? So my calories intakes is between, I want to say between 1,800 and 2,100, depending
Okay.
upon the day. So I kind of, you know, I'll allow for more on the weekends than I do for the week because of, you know, I'm going. But yeah, I've been tracking on my fitness pal up for, I want to say about 2 years now.
Oh,
And on
good.
Lose It app for about a year and a half.
Yes, and they're very similar, I find,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as ease of use and all of that. Okay, very good. All right, so tell us, what does a day in the life of Dariam look like? So you get up, are you a early riser? Like,
Yes.
how is your schedule looking to fit all the things you need to do, and then incorporate exercise into that? What is your day looking like?
So on the weekdays, I'm generally up at 5. So I'm getting ready for work at 5. And once I get to work, I'm getting to work at 5, but I already have my breakfast and things that are already prepared. So that's already done. If I'm going to do a protein coffee, I already have the, you know, pre-mix. I just have to put the coffee and stuff in there. So I'm doing that. And I'm trying to, I'm trying to make sure that I'm stacking my habits. I'll go in, and when I get to work, I'll have my breakfast, and I get there about half an hour earlier. So when I get there about half an hour earlier, I can have breakfast and then I have time to take a walk. So I'll take a walk in the mornings most days to be able to get after eating, because I understand that eating helps. I mean, walking after eating helps with the glycemic control. So
Yeah.
you're not having as many spikes. So I'm doing that. So I'm doing walking about half an hour to an hour every day. I'm doing strength training probably 4 times a week. And the thing that I find helps me a lot is those resistance bands, because you can have some resistance band that go as high as 300 pounds. So you
Mhm.
can get some pretty good resistance in there. And it's really good for me, like if I'm having meetings on Teams or things like that, I can be multitasking. So while I'm listening, I could be, you know, doing those things at the same time. So again, you try to do more than one thing at a time if you're trying to be successful.
So are you lifting, so you're using resistance bands. Are you lifting weights like do you lift heavy weights? Are you just average with your weights? Are you
No,
just,
I
'cause
mean, most of the time it's resistance bands, because trying to fit into the going to the gym enough times to be able to get that is just not working for me right now. But that's why I use the heavier resistance band, because you know, if I'm lifting 100 pounds with the resistance bands, I would imagine it would be like lifting
yeah,
weights.
yeah. I love that. I love that. I think that's another option for people out there who think that you have to be, going super hard to see
No.
any progress and to gain muscle. So, how do you feel? Because in our GLP-1 community, I feel like now there's exercise is a thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
which is great, right? Because when I was growing up, I didn't see a lot of folks exercising at all, especially women. The people that exercise that I saw around me, were trying, like, I would call them gym bros, right? They were trying to get these huge big muscles. So now I see women exercising, men exercising, but the women are into the weights and the strength training and all of that, which is great. But I feel like it's like it could be, if you're not doing it, you could feel kind of left out, or you could get into that comparison thing. Have you fallen into that trap? Have you thought about it? Like, how do you
Mhm.
feel about that?
So, to say that I didn't have the spirit of comparison would be untrue. I did. I went through comparing myself in my journey to everybody else because I looked at, oh, this person was losing this much and this person was doing that much and they were able to do this and able to do that. And I felt bad for a little bit, but then I had to realize, how dare you compare yourself to somebody else when you've only seen a snippet of their life? You have only seen a minute, 2 minutes, maybe a half an hour if they're doing a live of their life. You have no idea what they're doing to get where they are. And you're comparing yourself to that. You are able to get out of bed now and you have so much less pain than you did before you started this. You're able to move around more than you've ever been able to move around. You have a mindset where you're going to be, when eating, you're not thinking about the next meal or the next time you're going to have something. You have more mobility in your body. Your glucose is so much so that you're not having that numbing in your feet and you're not feeling, your eyesight going blurry at times because your glucose is so high. I realized that I did not know how badly I was feeling until I started feeling better. And when I started feeling better, I'm like, wow, is this what it's like to feel like more healthy? And so in that, I had to realize me comparing myself to them is like trying to compare a nickel to a dime. Both are money, but they all have different sizes and different purposes. And I had to realize that my body was working overtime to take care of me. My body is amazing, is beautifully and wonderfully made. And how dare I think that somebody else's body for them is better than mine? So I had to go through a whole detox of comparison because it was multi-layered and I had to find out what was it all rooted in. And in doing that, you know, I was able to kind of detox from that. But I realized something else, that if you're not careful, it'll slip back in. But I'm able
Yeah.
to identify it faster now. So identifying it, okay, yeah, okay, I see what this is. It's okay to have comparison, but when it becomes unhealthy, it becomes an unhealthy obsession. That's when it becomes problematic.
Well said. I agree 100%. You're supporting everybody, and we love that. We appreciate. I don't know how you get. Every time I go somewhere, Darian pops up in there. You're supporting everybody, and when you see people losing so fast and furious, how do you feel about that? Like, have you said to yourself, like, "Why am I not? Why is that not me?" How did you come to terms with that? Because I went through that phase too, and you're right. You have to get past that to, I think, to be okay with yourself and be successful. And once I did, I was off to the races.
Yeah. And yes, I went through and I thought that my journey was going to be this, and I was going to be able to lose 100 pounds in 15 minutes. I thought that I was going to be able to have a normalized A1C. I was just thought, oh, I'm just taking this and this is the magic shot. This is the magic bullet. I ain't gonna have to do nothing else. And I take this, and my body was on it. My body chose health over weight loss.
Oh, I
So
love
my
that.
my body said, "Yeah, fool, you can do what you think you're doing, but this is what we doing, and we gonna make sure that we clean up all this mess that you've had over here for a while before we think about this weight loss." And I celebrate that. I embrace that because if I'm on people talk about a journey, but beyond a journey. I'm trying to live a healthier life. And I'm taking each day as it comes. There's some days that I don't feel like doing nothing. And there are other days I'm motivated. And that's okay. Who lives a life that is all the same every day? Somebody with a very boring life. But the messy parts, the this and the that, that's going to be the exciting parts. Oh Lord, what are we doing today? How are we figuring those things out? So I had to come to terms with all of those things in order for me to realize that comparison was normal. And there's nothing wrong with comparing, but what are you going to do with the information? Now what?
Yes. Now what? Exactly. And I think that's what gets people caught up in the cycle of still comparing, because it's like, okay, you're comparing. Now what are you going to do with the information? It's either going to make you feel worse, or you're going to take that and use it as motivation to get where you want to get and do what you want to do. And sometimes even the motivation is not it's not a thing. It's just your body's not ready, right? It's not that it's going to motivate you. You know, your body may not be ready. And when you look at some of the studies that Eli Lilly has, came out with, and I'm just using Lilly because that's what I have been studying. People didn't lose for a long time, and then out of the gate, they started losing. The weight picked up, and usually it came at that 15, but now we're realizing some of us even need beyond the 15. And I think that we have to take the shame out of, because I feel like it's shame, even though it's subtle. I feel like there is shame out there for people that are on the higher doses. And I never felt shame. I was just afraid to get on the higher doses, because I thought, if this is doing such a good job at the lower doses, what are the higher doses going to do? And now that I'm on 12.5 and I'm close to that 15, and I believe I'll be on 15, it's my fears are calm, right? I think we have to embrace where we are, wherever that is in your journey. I think you have to be okay with that. So you are on 15. Do you see yourself, if something else came out that was a more powerful, that was safe? Do you see yourself, taking advantage of that, or how do you feel about that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm ready for my 20, my 25, my 30. I'm ready for Retta. I'm ready for Greta. I'm ready for come on with it. Come on with it. We're gonna do this. And just about the shame, just about shame. Shame, I realize, is something that only you can accept or deny. Nobody can place shame on you. They will try, but you can return it to sender, or
Yeah.
you can be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do. So just because somebody thinks that you should do something different,
Yes.
okay, thanks. I appreciate your input. I'm not doing that, but thank you so much for your input, because people will tell you, if you don't know where you're going, somebody else will try to tell you to get there.
Yes. How to get there, when you should get there, why you should get there.
And
Yeah.
and something came in my mind, Dee Dee, that just, I want to speak on it just a little bit. In the whole comparison of it, and then you'll get into a point where you want to get results that you see other people that are getting, and you're not doing those things. Please be very careful at the extreme stuff. I know that there are lots of people who do what is called stacking of different types of medication, but please do that under the care of under the guidance of your care team, because I understand we all want to get to a particular place, but at the cost of your health, at the cost of your longevity, just be really, really careful with those things. No shame, no judgment. I'm just, calling a thing a thing. So be careful. Make sure that you are being safe, and as safe as you can. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And and I also want to say too, I think people have to embrace that our bodies are so different. Our bodies all have a history of their own. And we only know what people tell us. We really don't know what's going on with folks, right? We only know what they're saying, what we can see. And I think I respect everybody's right to their privacy. So there may be an underlying reason why some people are losing slow that they just don't want to tell you. And that's okay too. And I think we got to embrace that. We got to be okay with that. And I feel like I'm on a lifestyle journey. Like, this is my life. I'm doing what I can do. So if something happens with this medication and the rug was pulled from under me or us or everybody, I feel like I could still survive. Now, will I keep all the weight off, or, would it be easy peasy lemon squeezy? Probably not. But I really feel like I have some systems and some lifestyle changes in place that I did not have before. That is, it's just, I've learned so much too, that's just going to sustain me. But with that said, I love the non-scale victories that this medication offers. Like you said, I'm on a health journey too. I love the fact that I don't have inflammation anymore in my knees. I love the fact that, I just feel better when I get out of bed. I love the fact that I'm not going to bed stuffed, that I can be satisfied when I'm eating and I can push back from the table. Like all those are great non-scale victories that, I wish somebody would have told me that and not just told me that this was like a medication for my type 2 diabetes, because I would have been on it. I would
Yeah.
have gotten on it. I wouldn't have been as afraid if I would have known about some of the other things that the media, they don't really share about the inflammation and different things with, your blood pressure and your labs and your cholesterol and all those things you don't really hear about. You just hear about the weight loss. And that's why we're so focused on the weight loss. So that's why I think it's so important for people like you and me and all those other content creators out there to talk about the other things that the medication is doing to change lives that is not related to the weight. Now I know weight is connected, right? Because that's you're losing the weight and that's helping these things to improve, but it's not the end all be all, right? Because if I didn't lose another pound, I always say this, if I didn't lose another pound from where I'm at now, I feel great. I feel like I'm winning. I have won, right? So, I can feel like I can only improve it from here, right? And so I want people to really focus in on embracing and loving yourself where you are. Just think, if you don't lose another pound, all the great things that you have going on. With that said, I still have a lot more to lose, and
Mhm.
and I'm okay with that too. But I love myself where I'm at now. And if everybody could get to the point where you love yourself where you are now, that next, milestone that you want to get to, whatever it is, it's going to be that much easier. And you're going to appreciate it that much more, I think, too. So, can you give advice? Like, what advice would you give to anybody starting on this GLP-1 journey?
So if I'm going to give advice, and one of the things that we're not doctors, we're not pharmacists. We're just people sharing the journey. But what I would say to you, new person who wants to get started, hold dear to your why. Why am I doing this? For me, I said I got this A1C diagnosis and I wanted to get it under control. And when things get shaky, you have to realize why I started this, because you're going to be discouraged. You're going to see people who are going to have an opinion about what you should be doing. You're going to see different type of stimuli that's going to say, hey, you should be here and you should be there. And all of that is great. Everybody has an opinion about what should be done, and that works great for them. But when you are by yourself, you have to get back to your why. Why did I do this? Why am I putting myself through these things? And consult your care team. And you can build your care team. If you have a primary care physician who prescribes a medication but doesn't know a lot about obesity or things with the endocrine system, then add to the care team. Find you somebody who does. Find somebody in there who can help you with. If nutrition is your construct that you need some assistance with, there are resources available. If things are dealing with mental disabilities, you have people who are there for you. So build your care team and let the people who know all of what you're dealing with have a
Yeah.
louder voice than the people on the internet who have an opinion. But nobody's voice should be louder than your own voice that's coming from a place of why I'm doing this. So, new person getting started, take your shot, take your medication, and monitor where you are. Write things down. Take plenty of pictures, because a lot of people on there say, hey, I don't remember what I was like before. And you don't have to share them online. Just take them for yourself. So when you are looking back where I was a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, then see where you are. So I would say that, take your time, remember why you're doing this, and stick to that.
I think that's great. I love how you talked about having your care team, because I think sometimes it seems to me, and I don't know everyone and don't know everything, but it seems to me that people are coming on YouTube for information, which I did, right? I came on here, but I also had a care team, a doctor, and various doctors that I was working with for different things. And so I think that that's important because I think people can come on here without, a healthcare professional. So maybe they got the medication prescribed and then that's it. And the rest of their journey, they're looking on YouTube. And I think that's important to remind people we're not doctors. This is just our opinion. This is just our journey. And on my channel, I like to do like research and things like that, but I'm also not a doctor. So I think that that's excellent advice. And I hope people really take that because I think that sometimes when you're not losing and things are happening where you're not seeing results right away, usually there's an underlying reason why. And a
Mhm.
healthcare professional is going to be able to pinpoint that for you. So I think that's great advice. Okay, so let me ask you, I'm so interested in this. What if you had to have a word to describe yourself before you started your GLP-1 journey? What would it be? Just one word would describe you.
Compliant.
Oh, compliant. Why do you say that?
Because I was always doing what I was told. I did everything that it was to be accepted so that I wasn't the scary big man in the back. So I did what I was told. I followed the rules. I do all the things that should be done so that I don't besmirch my reputation.
Wow. Wow. Geez Louise. So what's a word to describe you now?
Aware.
Aware. Why do you say that?
So I gain an awareness to know that there's so much more to life than I've ever given myself credit for. There's so much more to be explored that I never even considered. There's so much more that my body can do that it wasn't able to do even yesterday. So living in with your awareness brings you back to making yourself present, seeing where you are, checking in with yourself. And if there's some, area that's down or whatever, give it the care and the, attention that it needs. And be able to be okay to know that every day is not going to be perfect. Every day is not going to be a sunny day in the summer. Every day is not going to be that. You're going to have some torrential downpours, and that's just a part of life. And being okay in wherever state you're in to know that, hey, I'm going to be okay. This is temporary. It's all part of life. Then it makes it a little bit more easy for me. So that's why I say awareness is where I am right now.
So would you consider yourself a yes man now? Like, so are you, are you setting
No.
boundaries? Like, what has changed? What has emboldened you to just say no, no, no more of that?
Well, I guess right now I'm in a bit of a rebellion because I realized that my years of compliance put me last and I was the one suffering for it. And so being on this entire health reclamation because I'm reclaiming my health, I realized that sometimes you have to be selfish. And selfish means I got to put me first. So that's saying no to some things. That's saying no to some people. That means you're not going to do this. That means you're not going to do that. And with you saying those no's, some people who are used to you saying yes may not like it, but that's their business. They have to deal with it. You've already said your no and you're moving on. And so that I realized that yes man wasn't working for me. So now, I'm somebody different now.
I love that for you. I love that. People that you said no to, they're still going to be there. So, and if they love you and care about you and, they might not like the no, but they still love you. And I think that's a great place to be. It probably has freed you up from just the responsibility of what everybody else is thinking and just worrying about what you think and how you feel. What a great feeling. All right, so we're going to play a game and it's a word association game and I'm going to say a word to you and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. And if you want to explain it, you can. If not, we'll just go with the word. All right, so are you ready? It's Dariam, King Dariam. He says no.
I'm not ready, but let's do it anyway.
Okay. All right, so the first word is GLP-1s. It's the first word that comes to mind.
Freeing.
Freeing. Very good. Very good. Compounds.
Accessibility.
Good. Good. Strength training.
Overhyped.
Overhyped. Obesity.
Is a disease.
Yes. Maintenance.
Is attainable.
Oh, I love that. Aging.
Beautiful.
Family.
Annoying. No, I'm just kidding. Family is, to sound cliche, everything.
Everything. Yes, I agree. And last word is, well, not the last word, second to the last word, YouTube.
Informational.
Informational. Very good. And last word is Substack.
Outlet.
Outlet. Oh, that's great. That's great. I love how you have embraced your gray. And you look, I mean, honestly, you look like such a distinguished gentleman. Do you get that? Has anybody told you that before? You look like a distinguished gentleman. I love it. I love it. What made you embrace that? Because I know a lot of people are dyeing their hair and not letting the gray show. What made you embrace that?
Oh, I embraced it today. Tomorrow I may let it go.
That is so me. That is so
That's
me.
I will let it go. So don't get married to the gray, because sometime the gray will go away. This is just where I am today. This is what we're doing today. Enjoy it while it's here, because tomorrow it may be different.
And I love that. Keep them guessing. Keep them guessing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love this. So before we get to the end here, and I'm gonna just let you have the last thing you want to say. I want to know from you. What if you could start this over? Would you do anything differently on your GLP-1 Mounjaro journey?
No,
Okay, very good. You say no.
no.
Why do you say that?
Because for me, why I say no is I've learned so much more about me than I would have before. The bumps in the road, the disappointments, the gratitude, the people, the situations, the perspective, all of those things happened because of where I was. That man that decided that he was going to embrace the journey of trying to get a better health was one of the strongest, bravest, most courageous people that I've ever met. And his lived experience was not enough to keep him so downtrodden that he did not make another decision. So, would I do things differently? No, because this is all that I know. And if I did something different, who's to say it would be any better?
True. That's a good point. Well, what's the best thing about being on Mounjaro for you?
For me, is the getting the A1C under control, and into I'm now at a 5.6. So I've reached the setting on the wash machine, the normal setting. But
I love that.
I realized that with that my body feels a lot better. That, a lot of the things that are going on with it is more regulated. So, and the second thing I would say is the inflammation, how it has, I'm not hurting as much. My body does not feel as inflamed. And it's like, wow.
Great
And
feeling.
then I
Great feeling.
realized, yeah.
What's the worst thing for you about being on the GLP-1?
The needle.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So you are 6'2", right? Six
Mhm.
two. And so being in a bigger body, because you're tall too. You're not, you're tall. So do you feel like your journey has been like your journey and your body has been a little bit of a struggle? And I know, struggle is not a word that some people like to
Mhm.
use, but I think struggle is a real thing, right? It
Mhm.
it just is. And I think that everybody on this journey is not going to have like that linear weight loss where it's just, some people were fast out the gate and then it slowed down. Some people, were slow and then it sped up. And some of us are in the middle, which I think I know you have your Substack called The Messy Middle, which we're going to get into, but I feel like I'm in that messy middle somewhere, right? Because I feel like my weight loss has never really been fast, like what we would consider fast. When I look back at the numbers now, I guess they were good, but they weren't like fast. And then, now I'm on the kind of, in the middle of my journey, and I feel like I'm slow and steady. But I feel like for some people, this journey is, and we talked about this beforehand, and I use the analogy of the mountain where the person, and really to me, that's where the struggle of it all comes in, because I feel like there are a lot of people that are trying to get up this mountain, right, to get to their goal. And they are, how you go up the mountain, the rocks come
Mhm.
down and it brings you down. And if you don't have like that, that sharp tool that's going to help you pull yourself up, you're still struggling to get up. And those are the people that I connect with, because I feel like that's me. And when you said, you can out eat the medication, I can out eat the medication. I always am just so like in awe of people who can't, because I can. There was only one point when I got to that 12.5 milligrams where it just took my appetite. It was
Mhm.
gone. I had never experienced that. And then now it's back to where I can overeat the 12.5. So I'm one of those people. My body is just reacting different. Have you had moments where you felt like this journey was a struggle for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think that, looking at the range of where you are on a journey or on a lifestyle modification since last year, there's been some times that it's been tougher than others. There have been some moments where it seems impossible. There are times when you are frustrated with where you are and you want more, but your body has a different mindset. There's times when it comes to food and things like that that you have to keep within your calories because you're trying to get somewhere. But some days it's like white knuckling, and some days ain't no knuckling, you just gonna have it. So, but I think that when you look at the word struggle, I don't think that it is something that is necessarily every day. There's some
Right.
respites, there's some reliefs for that if you take a moment and kind of assess where you are. Now, I'm not saying that it's not hard. I am not minimizing anybody's lived experience because I would be foolish to think that it was great for everybody. That's not reality. But every lived experience is your lived experience. It deserves honor. It deserves a voice. It deserves to be normalized. Nobody told me when I picked up the bottle of the box of Mounjaro that this was going to be the answers to all my life's questions. Nobody told me that I was going to lose 300 pounds in 10 minutes. Nobody told me that this was going to be an easy road. That was all me making stuff up, or looking for those. I realize that we are drawn to those things that make us or answer those things in our head. So if we're hearing a lot of people telling us we're not doing it right, we're going to look for more of those people telling us that we're not doing it right, and that's going to be the thing that's going to be for us. Or you're going to have other people who are going to have modifications or doing things that are going to be like, hey, here's some improvements that I've done, and this is what you're looking for. Then you're going to do that. So you're going to find your people if you look if you look a little bit. But when you're dealing with struggles, let's normalize that. That's a thing. It's okay. Every day you'll get stronger because those people who lift, I'm sure that when you lifting those heavy weights over time, it gets a little better. When you're taking your Mounjaro and you're on your 2.5 and now you're on your 12.5, you had to struggle, but you're like, okay, I can do it now. It's not as hard. So,
Yeah. And I just think there are struggles, there are challenges, and then there are wins. You know what I mean? So I think it's just it's a spectrum, and we really want people to be in the more mindset of you can overcome it. And so I think that's the reason why the wordplay is kind of important, right? Because we don't want people to feel like a struggle you can't get out of it. But I do think we have to recognize that there are people that are struggling, right? So tell us about your Substack. Like, what made you say, because you went from not wanting to interview, not wanting to be on camera, not wanting to be seen, to starting a Substack, and now you're making your rounds. Okay, so what was that change? Like, I want to know, what is the moment you, Dariam, King Dariam, said, I am going to write this down. I'm going to be out here. I'm going to share my experiences.
So what the reason I started the Substack is because I got inspired by another creator who created one and was putting out some great content about her lived experience. And that's Barb at Health at Any Cost. And I was like, oh, well, this is a way to capture some things. I think I do better at writing than I do, getting on camera and saying different things. I like to write. So I said, oh, this would be a place where I can sneakily write stuff down, get those things out of my head. But I realized, or what made me decide on the messy middle, my Substack is called The Messy Middle by Dariam, is I've been following a lot of creators for a long time. I have sat in a lot of lives. I looked at a lot of YouTube videos. I've looked at a lot of TikTok videos. And the constant thing that people are dealing with is the before and the after. And rarely are people talking about the middle part. You think about you were born one year and you're deceased the next year, but that dash in between, what are you doing with that dash? And every day deserves to be lived. It does not mean it's going to be great. Does not mean that it's going to be awful. It's just part of where you're going. And if you're living your life and you're taking the moment of saying, man, this is not perfect. That's the fun part. Because perfect is boring. You're doing the same thing every day, all the time. You have your perfect life, boring. But everybody likes a little drama, a little razzle
So we
dazzle, a
know
little
you
this
do.
and that. Okay, I really do. And it's those dramatic moments that put a little bit of spice, because therapists helped me to realize, who told you that the sunshine was more important than the rain? All of them have a purpose. All of them have a process. And if you embrace all of it, the messy parts, it's going to help you when you get to wherever you're going to say, I have lived a life, not I've gone from being born to not being here. But what are you doing in between? So the being in this middle for as long as I've been in this middle and seeing the things that I've seen, or overcoming some of the things that I have dealt with and the fears and the frustrations and all of that, I decided that, hey, I can put my voice to that and give people just something to know, let them know that they are not alone. Everybody's not going to be a content creator. Everybody's not going to make a comment, but I want everybody to at least feel seen, at least feel heard, and know that it's not perfect. So that's why I decided I'm going to be in the messy middle. I wasn't trying to be messy. I was just going to be in the messy middle.
So you're not trying to be messy. And you know what? I told you this early on. Do you remember what I used to tell you that you have a way with?
Words.
Do you remember? Yes.
Yeah.
I said, oh my goodness, this guy has a way with words. I love that. I love how you, you just put things in perspective. And you always have something to offer. And I love that. I love that you have something to offer. It's very insightful. And so that is why I totally can see you, on Substack with, giving your opinion. And how do you get around to everybody? Because you're so supportive. So all those people that Dariam is supporting, I hope you guys are over at his Substack supporting him, the messy middle. I mean, he just has a way of putting things, and I feel like you, and I don't know if you said this, but this is kind of reminds me of like you're kind of speaking up for the underdog, which I've also been somebody who is like,
Yeah.
that's my thing. I like to,
Yeah.
give people a voice and speak up for people who maybe can't speak for themselves necessarily. So I love that. And I want to just say for people watching, in Darian's background, he has the messy middle. And when we started, you couldn't see it. It was off to the side. And I said, no, bring that baby over so we can see the messy middle. So so we came back on and he got it up so we can see it. So, so I want you guys to know, like, he wasn't trying to like, oh, I got to put this up here. It was me encouraging him to do that, because one of the things I love about you is you're very humble. Even though, you're getting all this praise and people just love you, you are very humble. So at times you got to give a humble brag to yourself. I call it the humble brag. So what can we expect to see over there on Substack? And do you see yourself venturing out? And does your family know about this Substack?
So about the family knowing, the family is going to know now because it's over here on YouTube. But so you asked, how do I get to the different places? Is because I realized I got help early on when I didn't know anything. And when I learned different things and I realized that people needed help and I had the answer to it, I was just going in there and saying, hey, because the creator, when you're a creator and you're having lives and you have different things, you have a flood of messages that you're not physically able to get to them all. But if
Yeah.
you have a cadre of people who are there to support you and provide really good information, unbiased information, factual information to the people in there, then you can help that creator along. So when people come in and they have questions and there's things that I can answer, I do. I don't take any shine from anybody else because it's not my platform, but I want people to at least have the information because somebody did it for me. So anytime I have somebody who is pushing the narrative forward, I'm going to try to be there. I look at lives and things like that while I'm doing other stuff. I like different replays and things like that. So it kind of plays in the background. But if I'm able to be there, I like to try to be there to at least come in and encourage the people.
All right. Well, we love that. We love that. And I think the fact that you also are open and talking about that you see a therapist, and I think that's so important. I feel like the stigma is slowly coming off of that. What made you decide that this is something I need to do? And, when was that? When did you decide to do that?
So we're getting the diagnosis, it really impacted me. And I realized that I had a lot of stuff I needed to undo.
Okay.
So I said I needed to get a therapist because if I could have done it myself, I would have done it. I would already have had it done. I would have already figured it out. So
Yeah.
I needed that outlet in. I needed to talk to a professional because if you're used to being the strong one in your family and in your life, rarely do you find people who are going to be the strong one for you. And I
Yeah.
never wanted to burden somebody else with what I was going through, especially if they didn't have the answers. So I said, why not use the resource? Talk to the therapist, and the therapist has helped me with letting go a lot of different things, letting go of a lot of different shames, and also with being able to feel more empowered than I ever felt before.
I'm glad you're sharing that and talking about that, because I think it's going to be helpful for people who are on the fence about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, who are on the fence and thinking, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? And once they see they're not alone, that just really helps people to feel more comfortable to do it. So I thank you for that. So, Dariam, this has been, I feel like I'm coming out. I want the world to know that gotta let it show. So, we're going to be over there at the Substack checking you out. And anything else you want to tell us before we head out of here? Anything
Sure.
else?
I want to say to the community at large, new people, people who have been on this a while, people on the fence, people watching, I want you to know that you're doing better than you think. If you are making a decision that you want to make some kind of modification to your life, that's a different mindset than you were before you decided to do that. Give yourself permission to live. Give yourself permission to have memories over macros. Give yourself permission to enjoy your journey. Give your body, give your body gratitude for taking so much care of you. But realize, if you take a moment and you realize and you look around and you take an inventory, you're really doing better than you think you are.
Very good. I love that. Great way to close this out. So I just want to thank you. It's Dariam, King Dariam. I mean, you are just the man, the myth. You're out here. I love that you're out and about doing your thing. And I just wish you all the success. You know, we all appreciate all the support that you give everybody. You know, you show up and you not only show up, you show out. So we love that. And you are a little messy, though. And I love it. It keeps the conversation going. I want you
Mhm.
to, just stay true to yourself on this journey. You are beloved and we appreciate your support. And I hope that you feel it back tenfold, as time goes on here. And just best wishes to you. Best wishes to you. And I won't say goodbye. I will say, see you in the next video. See you at that next Substack.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.